Hey, everybody. Do you want to hear a confession? I got one for you today in the Christopher Behall case, the Visions of Violence case. What did he have to say during his police interview? You're going to hear that today. Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is my it's kind of spring outfit. Like, I wish it was spring with the butterflies, but it's still cold enough. I gotta wear a sweater. Yeah, crazy weather. Anyway, supposed to go up to 70 today. I'm so excited. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Helps the algorithm, and thumbs up, like button, whatever. Subscribe. It's free. I don't charge you a thing. And if you're already subscribed, consider becoming a member so you can support the content of the channel. So back on March 14th of 2024, Christopher Behall lost it. Just lost it. And he's going to kind of explain what happened, sort of explain what happened during his police interview. He's on trial in the state of Iowa for the murder of Taylor Escondrius, his girlfriend. They met in the rehab. And I think they'll tell you in rehab, this is not a good idea. Relationships are not a good idea when you're in rehab. They met in rehab. So this is day 4 of the trial, Friday. We've already heard from the medical examiner. We've heard about the horrendous beating that Taylor succumbed to on the evening of, or the early morning hours of March 14th, where she was beaten with a baseball bat, stabbed 28 times with a screwdriver, and 17 times with a knife. So Christopher gets into an accident in the early morning hours of March 14th. He's in a single vehicle accident where he is driving out by the airport, hits a light pole that's surrounded by a concrete post, hits that concrete post, just damages the heck out of his car, his Impala, and front end damage. Airbags go off, so he's hurt. He goes unconscious. We know from a surveillance camera that happened about 1:45-ish a.m. About 11 minutes later, 1:55, the police show up at the scene. He is regaining consciousness at that point, answering questions, but not really appropriately. Like, he thinks he's in the hospital. Doesn't know where he's at. He really doesn't know where he's at or how he got there. There's a bloody knife on the floor of the car. He's not wearing any shoes. He's got a stab wound to his lower abdomen. So he is taken to the hospital. While he is in the hospital, there's an officer that follows him to the hospital to complete their accident investigation. They decide they're going to send someone to his home address because they want to, clearly he's been drinking. They want to find out where did he start drinking, what's going on. So they go to his home address. Nobody answers the door. So they send an officer to complete the investigation to the hospital. That's normal procedure. He's there. And while he's there, Christopher says, I got to tell you something. I'm having these visions. I'm seeing, like, I think I hurt her with a baseball bat. Can you see if she's still alive? So the officer's like, yeah, sure. He gets on the phone with his boss, the lieutenant, tells him what he just heard from Christopher Behall, and the lieutenant and another officer go out to the apartment again, knock on the door, no answer. Sheriff's department, hello, no answer. They try the door. They think it's locked. Try it a second time. It's open. They go in. Her body is right behind the door, and she is deceased. And like I said, you heard what the medical examiner had to say. Horrendous, horrendous death on her part. So what does Christopher Behall have to say? After he's done at the hospital, He's put in a wheelchair and he's taken to the police department for an interview that occurs at 9:57 a.m. Now, he's had no sleep except for a little bit that he might have gotten into the hospital. And he says, I have had about an hour of sleep in the last 3 days.
We were playing garbage. She started playing music. We were going song for song, and then she kind of just started losing it. She was having kind of like an emotional breakdown. I don't really know what was going on. I know she suffers from BPD and then depression and anxiety, just like I do. But she just started breaking down. I was trying to console her and be there for her, and then we ended up going to the bedroom. And we went outside for a cigarette, came back inside. She started talking about her sister because I brought up something about her sister because of the blanket that she had given her, what was written on it. What was written on it? Something just about like being really tied together, but I know that they, she shares a lot of animosity towards her sister, so I was asking her about that. And then we were sitting there talking, and then we both kind of laid down, and then she started freaking out again, and she went into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, came into the bedroom. I don't know what she was doing with it at first, and she was just kind of freaking out. I tried to take it from her, and then she ran out of the kids' living room, and I tried to take it from her again. She slashed me across the stomach, and I took it from her, and I pushed her against the wall, and she fell on the floor. And I don't know how much of this next part is true or false, but I remember grabbing the baseball bat and hitting her with it, and then stabbing her.
What he says is that he and Taylor, that he met in the rehab, that are now not rehabbing anymore, are drinking, and they go on this bender, and they're drinking nonstop. And he says, once we came off the bender, I don't usually sleep for several days after I've been on a bender. So they're up playing cards, a game called Garbage, which he explained very lucidly. He explained the rules of this game. I've never heard of it. Okay. But he explains that they're playing this game and they're drinking and they're talking and they're just hanging out and eating. They had gone to McDonald's that afternoon. They had chips, they had burritos, they had chicken Alfredo, like whatever was in the fridge. Apparently, they're just eating their way through the evening. And after, at some point, she starts playing her music. And they're taking it one song at a time. And all of a sudden, she's getting kind of melancholy. And she starts to lose it. She's breaking down. So he goes to console her. When he does, they go and they end up in the bedroom. Afterwards, they got to go have a cigarette. Fast forward, cigarette. Then he says she starts talking about her sister and this blanket that her sister gave her, and I don't know. Then they go and they lay back down, and next thing he knows, he's hitting her with a baseball bat, and he says, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. I must have blacked out. And then he says, at one point, he says, I wish I could take all this back. I can't. It's done. He's right about that. You can't. You're done. You're done. So he remembers, the last thing he remembers afterwards is debating. do I go lay down or or the police going to come get me? So I better grab my car keys and leave. So he grabs his car keys and he leaves. And that's the last thing he remembers. Then all of a sudden during this interview, he's like, all right, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember nothing. All that stuff I just told you about the card game and the chips and the salsa, and you don't remember none of that. He made it all up. He made it all up because he does no memory. He says, we were laying down in the bed, we were talking, and, last thing I remember is I woke up, I'm hitting her with a baseball bat, and I can't tell you what happened. I don't know. And yeah, I left. So he said, yeah. So I was left with the impression that some of that might be true, some of that might not be true. Like, I don't know what he remembers and what he doesn't remember, but he wants the police to think that he just totally blacked out, doesn't remember anything about waking up, hitting her with a baseball bat. He kept his baseball bat in his room in case somebody broke in, so they'd have a defense. So he says, I wish I could remember. WTF happened. I wish I could remember. I can't remember. So this was Friday, the interview. So then the state rested their case. Then the defense moved for judgment of acquittal. This is the routine motion that's made at the end of every state's presentation of their evidence. And that's to say to the judge that in the light most favorable to the prosecution, there's no way the jury can conclude that their client committed this murder. Well, that's just ridiculous because we know he did. There's nobody else did this. It's just his DNA all over the place and her DNA all over the place. And yeah, anyway. So he says drinking has ruined his life. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. So, of course, that motion was denied. Now, is he going to take the stand? The defense is putting on their case this morning. They have a doctor on the stand this morning to tell us, probably explain alcoholism to us and blackouts and that whole thing. I don't know that that's a defense to this, to be honest with you. It's just not. You can explain that to a jury. I don't think it lessens your culpability at all. I think this is sort of an open shut. The jury will probably be back before 5 o'clock today with a verdict. So I don't think he's going to take the stand. If he doesn't remember, he doesn't remember, and his credibility is shot anyhow because he's lied during this interview. He admits that he was lying during the interview, and he doesn't remember what happened. So what's he going to get on the stand and go, I don't remember. I don't remember. I met her in rehab. I don't remember what I did to her. Anyway, yeah, sad case. All right, here's the lesson. If you have to go to rehab, stay away from relationships. I think they tell you a year until you've been sober, a year. Yeah, no relationships. This was a bad idea from the beginning. Bad idea. 2 people feeding off of it. He says that she suffered from depression, anxiety. He suffered from depression, anxiety. He was supposed to be taking a drug called sertraline. I can't say it. Hold on. Sertraline. And he wasn't taking it. And at one point he says, we were laying down, and when I woke up, she had gone in the kitchen and she got a knife, and I was wrestling it away from her, and then I had to go get the baseball bat. Now, was that true, or was it the first story you told? You were playing cards, and I don't know. I don't know what was going on here that day. He said she was always threatening to kill herself. He says, I'll be honest, I was always threatening to kill myself. We both were. We were both suffering from depression and anxiety. Mixed with alcoholism. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. So now this man is likely going to spend the rest of his life in jail, where he will have time to think about what he's done, the life that he has ruined. Okay, I will keep you updated on what happens in today's proceedings tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Take care.